Right, lads, mic, camera, lights, all working. Oh, just need to get up Google Maps. There we go, zoom in Australia. There we go, lads, let's go. Okay, lots and lots of Celtic stuff is happening amidst all the Euro chat. If you know where to look, you can get your fix of Celtic content, and you're going to get your fix of Celtic content on 67 Hail Hail over the next however many minutes it takes me to go through all of this stuff, and there is a lot of stuff to go through. The fixtures for the new season came out earlier today on Tuesday. Celtic will start the Ange Postecoglou domestic reign at Tynecastle, July the 31st. We will go away to Heart of Midlothian. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday night. What a fixture that is. Will there be fans at that game? I would certainly hope so. Will there be Celtic fans at that game? Who knows? Even if there's no fans at that game, that is one to put in your diary. It's going to be a humdinger of a start to the season. And it doesn't actually get much easier after that, certainly on the road for Celtic. Our next two games are both at Celtic Park. We face Dundee and then St Mirren at home. And then the big one, we go to Rangers, match day 4 of the season. We go to Ibrox for the first derby of the season. If you actually look at the first round of fixtures, so the first 11 games, we have probably our 6 toughest away days, and we've got them all at the start of next season. Obviously, things will balance out. The second round of fixtures, we will then face all the aforementioned teams at Celtic Park, but that's a hell of a start for Ange Postecoglou. And you know what I say? Bring it on. I should say our trip to Ibrox will be after the second leg of a European playoff tie. Now, we don't know what European competition it's going to be in yet. It could be the Champions League, probably more likely to be the Europa League. It could even be the Europa Conference League. But we're guaranteed to have a game, a second leg, that midweek before we go to Ibrox. They'll probably have one as well. In fact, almost certainly I think they'll have one. So that's an extra dimension to add to that game. On the topic of European qualifiers, tomorrow is the day when we will find out our first opponent in the second qualifying round of the Champions League. Now, it's going to be either Rapid Vienna, Galatasaray or Midtjylland. My preference would probably be the final of those three, the Danish side, Midtjylland, Erik Sviatchenko's Midtjylland. I think Rapid Vienna would be a tough tie. They finished second in the Austrian league. Galatasaray probably have quite an aging squad, as do pretty much every team in Turkey, but there's still some real star quality there that would give me the fear. Midtjylland, it's strange because they're the only one of the three teams who were in the Champions League group stage last season, but I still think they're the most favourable tie. I guess we'll just need to wait and see how it plays out. We'll have some sort of live reaction to that tomorrow, I think. And yeah, it's exciting times. But that's not what we're chatting about on today's video. We're going big on transfers because if you know where to look, there's been some interesting Celtic rumours over the last 7 days or so. Some of them are even reliable. Right, I want to chat about Charlie Wyke first. He's not a player I know a great deal about. I'm not going to pretend to know a great deal about. As is probably the kind of stereotypical way to have heard of an English lower league striker. It's Gillette Soccer Saturday. I've seen that name coming up a hell of a lot. It came up 31 times last season. That's the amount of goals he scored for Sunderland in all competitions last season. 26 of them were in the league. So taking last season in isolation, yeah, go and sign this guy. No, don't do it just yet, because I'm going to rain on your parade a little bit if you're excited about this potential signing. And by the way, this is coming from the Northern Echo, who are based in the northeast. Wyke played with Sunderland last season, so they're probably pretty reliable. They say there could be significant progress. I really need to work on this. Significant progress in the next few days. We'll wait and see. As I say, he's a free agent after leaving Sunderland at the end of his contract. 31 goals last season. The year before he scored 4 in 27. The year before that he scored 5 in 27. He's actually never scored more than 14 goals in one season, apart from the season just gone. So he's not been hugely prolific throughout his career. He's 28 years old as well, so there'd be no real sell-on value for Charlie Wyke. My feeling on this is pretty simple. If he's a replacement for Patrick Klimala, if he's even a replacement for Lee Griffiths, I'm kind of not against it. If he's a replacement for Odsonne Edouard, then forget it. We need to be aiming so much higher. We're never going to be able to replace Edouard like for like and bring in a player who's as good as Edouard, because Edouard for me is a £30 million player and he'd be going for that, was he not, in the final year of his contract. But we could sign a decent replacement who is better than Wyke. That's where I come down on it. If it's a replacement for Edouard, not for me. If he's a replacement for Patrick Klimala, Lee Griffiths, or maybe even at a push Albion Ajeti, then I'm happy to give it a go. I think Wyke would offer us an aerial presence we've probably not had since, I don't know, Samaras, Jan Venegura Hesselink, unless I'm forgetting someone. He would offer us that. And if our front four next year was to be, say, Wyke, Kevin Nisbet, Ajeti, and a star striker, someone who could kind of step into Edouard's shoes a little bit, then I'd be for it. Right, a wee spoiler, and I was planning on doing a video late last week or even this week titled 5 players that Ange Postecoglou could look to sign for Celtic. I would probably have come up with a bit of a catchier title to hook you all in than that. The video may still happen, but I kind of struggled a little bit to come up with 5 players that he could sign that would improve Celtic and would get fans excited. One player that was on my list was Matt Ryan. Now, he's goalkeeper that currently plays for Brighton. I think he's out of contract there at the end of this coming season. He actually spent the second half of last season on loan at Arsenal. They had a bit of an injury crisis in nets. Bernd Leno was basically getting injured, and when he wasn't getting injured, he was getting sent off or just making howlers. Matt Ryan came in as a kind of emergency backup. I think he played 2 or 3 games for Arsenal, did okay, nothing spectacular, but decent by all accounts. Arsenal said to be kind of interested in him again this summer, along with some teams in Europe. But I get the impression Celtic could be looking to make a move for this guy. Some of the tabloids have actually reported this as one that could happen, so there is something in it. He was Postecoglou's number 1 for Australia at the 2014 World Cup. Also the 2015 Asian Cup, where Australia play, of course. Again, he's a bit of an older signing. He's not one that's going to massively get Celtic fans excited, I don't think. But we badly need to sort this goalkeeping problem next season. And if Matt Ryan can come in, someone who Postecoglou trusts, someone who will know Postecoglou's way of playing, know Postecoglou's way of managing off the pitch, and it makes sense for all parties, then completely I'm for this one. Another Australian player, don't think he ever played for Postecoglou. I think he kind of came along into the Australian national setup after Postecoglou had left. It's Martin Boyle, the Hibs winger. Reports have been going around saying that Celtic could look to sign him for a minimum fee release clause of £500,000, although I believe Edinburgh Live have since reported that clause only applies to foreign clubs. Obviously Celtic and Hibs play in the same country. I just think we need to be aiming much, much higher than Martin Boyle. As Hugh Keevins once said, if you sign too many Hibs players, you'll turn into Hibs. He actually said it about Dundee United, and he did say it about Stuart Armstrong, who we sold on for about 8 million, so he was wrong again. But anyway, Martin Boyle, not for me. Now, yet another Aussie player has been not really linked to Celtic. It came from The World Game, which is an Australian, I think, sport or football news outlet. And as I say, it's not really them saying that Celtic have held discussions with this player, Aaron Mooy, or that Mooy is interested in coming to Celtic. It's more an opinion piece, just saying that the pieces kind of fit together in this one. And I'll tell you a little bit why the pieces fit together. So you'll know probably who Mooy is. He played a number of seasons in the English top flight. First of all, in that Huddersfield Town team that got promoted to the English Premier League and did quite well. Mooy was a central figure for them. He then switched clubs but didn't really switch colours, going to Brighton and Hove Albion. He was slightly less successful there, but still got a lot of minutes in the Premier League. He is, I think, 30 years old now, so he's getting on quite a bit. He's currently playing in China for Shanghai Port. I believe it's been plain sailing there, but could he look to jump ship and go to Celtic? Shanghai Port was his team, just in case you missed that one. His wife is Scottish. Could that be an interesting draw to come to Celtic? He actually played for St Mirren earlier in his career. He's facing a tough situation in China at the moment. Basically, Chinese footballers or players playing in China are forced to stay in their hotels, in the hotel bubble at the moment. They're only let out for training and for matches. As a result, Mooy has missed out on the Australian national squad recently. Could a move back to Europe, back to Scotland, open the door for a return to the Australian national fold? He'd be returning to play under a manager he knows well with Postecoglou. I feel a lot of stuff kind of adds up here. Again, it's not one that would massively get Celtic fans excited, but is it the kind of Postecoglou signing that could be really important for us in years to come? We were excited about Shane Duffy, about Diego Laxalt, probably even about John Joe Kenny coming in, and look how those three signings worked out. So I don't think the excitedness levels, if that's even a word, is something we should judge a signing by. It should be about whether they can come in and improve Celtic, and I think Mooy probably could. And player number 5, this is a pretty speculative one, Andre Ayew from Swansea. Now, this has been reported by Ghana SoccerNet that Celtic are one of the clubs that Ayew could look to move to. I believe he's soon to be out of contract at Swansea City and is looking to move basically after they failed to get promoted to the Premier League. Bit speculative this, as I say. The report comes from Ayew's homeland in Ghana. He's on £80,000 per week reportedly at Swansea. He's 31 years old. Those two things kind of seem to suggest to me that this is a complete non-starter, but I thought I'd give it the airtime anyway. Fenerbahce also said to be linked with Ayew. That just seems a far more likely fit given the money in Turkish football and their need to sign players that are apparently a little bit over the hill, as discussed earlier on in this video. I think in general there's a lot of older players on this list. I assume that comes from the fact that a lot of them have worked with Postecoglou in the past, and that was now 5, 6, 7 years ago with the Australian national team. So these players are naturally going to be late 20s, early 30s. Again, for me, it just comes down to who is going to be making these signings at Celtic and what is the plan. I would love to hear from Dominic Mackay, or here's a novel idea, a sporting director. What is the vision for bringing in players? Because it seems very much from these early rumours that it's quite scattergun. Some of them are Postecoglou players, some of them are players who know Scottish football. What's the plan, guys? Answers on a postcard. And talking of postcards, that's a bit of a kind of strenuous link, but if you're in Australia and you've just discovered the channel, there has been probably over 100 of you in the last few days have actually replied, commented under a video saying hi. Hi everyone, great to have you all part of the channel. If you're someone who is in Australia or anywhere else in the world and you've just come across the channel, again, please subscribe, it would be massively appreciated. Let us know in the comments, say hi, it's great to know who's watching the videos. And yeah, keep watching everyone. We're back tomorrow, as I say. We're going to have a video looking at the Champions League draw. Bit excited for that. It's nice to take the heat off Scotland for a bit. And yeah, speak to you then.